guys, in today's video we are going to be going over PVE teams and how to build them, what kind of recommendations I have for you guys, and some of the cookies or best cookies that I would personally use if I were to start the game again and kind of have to build the team all over again, what I will work with and things like that. So it is going to be pretty much following the videos about what I've done before, how to level up power levels, and then what cookies are really worth it. And in today's video, kind of going over what is like the best kind of overall example of a good team that you can use for world exploration, and then like what you should be looking out for as well. So let's go over the roles of the cookies first. In 2025, it's the same. We still have the frontline tanks as well as damage dealers and healer/support. So these are very simple. It is in most of the team building RPGs that are out inside of the market right now, and it's the same for Cookie Run Kingdom. So it is going to be very important in most of the cases, in about 98% of the scenarios, where inside of world exploration you are going to want to have at least one tank, at least one DPS, and then at least one healer, and that is going to make a very standard team that's going to work in, you know, a very normal situation. All right, there are going to be stages where you might want to just use a bunch of damage dealers with one support to like kind of, you know, do a one-shot comp and stuff like that. But because of the fact that the newer cookies like Burning Spice, Shadow Milk, Dark Cacao, Awaken, Mystic Flower, these guys just excel at what they do, it's not going to be a problem at all. Another thing is that there are going to be cookies that work as a damage dealer / tank, just like what Burning Spice and Dark Cacao Awaken are going to be. So these guys are going to be a damage dealer / tank, so they could fulfill both roles, and then they could add another, you can add another, you know, another tank in there, or another like damage dealer in there, or you can just have a lot of other support / you know, healers in there. Don't really recommend that, but that is an option as well. So let's go over some of the cookies that I would personally recommend for you guys if you guys were to go and build a team. The first example I'm going to give is actually going to be more towards a beginner friendly. So it is going to be if you're returning to the game, you don't have Burning Spice, you don't have Shadow Milk, you don't have Dark Cacao Awaken, you don't have Mystic Flower and stuff like that, then this is the team that I would personally use. So I'm going to get rid of all of the Super Epic Plus, and then we are going to just use the epic cookies. All right, so in the epic cookies, like I said before, there are certain cookies that you definitely want to be using early on to clear most of the stages, and that is going to be, just like I talked about yesterday, it's going to be Rebel, Creme Brulee, as well as Star Coral. And then in here you can add in cookies like Mint Choco to allow Creme Brulee to do more damage. You can add in, again, the other special cookie, which is going to be, if I can find it, special cookie is all the way here, and Cream Ferret. So, like, this one is going to be a exception here as well. It's more of like 3 support, 1 attack damage dealer, and then a 1 damage tank here. Honestly, Rebel is quote-unquote a tank, but not the greatest body blocker or, you know, damage taker, soaker. So you can definitely add in another like tank in here. So in most cases, I would say Financier is a great option. The only reason why I don't recommend like Green Tea Mousse and other cookies like that right now is because of the fact that Green Tea Mousse is not available inside of the mileage shop. If you don't want to go with a magic candy cookie, then another great one is someone like Space Donut. Another great one is someone like Fettuccine. Fettuccine is another very solid option for most players. So something like this would be a very good, just overall, you know, content clearing team right now. Like, you don't need magic candy. You don't need to, you know, invest in too many things. You have a tank, you have some damage dealer, you have tank damage dealer, you have a healer, and you have a healer / like, I mean, these two are going to be healing and, you know, giving buffs as well. So this is going to be a very solid team for like a very, you know, early to like, honestly, like late carry as well. And here are some other recommendations for something like damage dealers. So if you guys want to look at damage dealers, then instead of someone like Creme Brulee or alongside creme brulee, you can use something like, tartatan is an option. You can use something like caramel arrow if you guys have the magic candy. Not the best, but it's it's an option if you guys have it. Captain Caviar is another very, very solid option in my opinion. And then of course we still have the Twizzy Gummy Black Lemonade combo. But really, in my personal opinion, creme brulee is going to be the best solid option. And then you can have other epic cookies, but most of the time you guys will get legendaries and beasts and epics that are available to you to get them relatively quickly. And then for the support side of things, of course you have these guys, and then you can use someone like Cream Puff if you guys have Cream Puff with the magic candy. Very, very solid. You can use someone like our Parfait here, and then you can use again Mint Choco if you guys have with the magic candy as well. And then you can use someone like Rockstar if you guys are looking for somebody who doesn't use any magic candy. And then you have someone like Peppermint as well, pretty good. You also do have a pretty solid support like Peach Blossom, and also our Nutmeg Tiger. Nutmeg Tiger is also a very, very good option here, guys. And then of course we have Snapdragon and Icicle Yeti, which are going to be other safeguard special cookies. So that is going to be a couple of the options that you guys have for each of these roles. And a lot of people have been asking, like, this is an example that I want to give, is that inside of Choco Cake Tower or the Strawberry Cake Tower right here, it's tray 40, right? So 40 is where a lot of players get stuck in, and this is considered a PVE section as well, right? Because you are technically versing the computers as well. And this is going to be the stage where like a lot of people are having a hard time with, because this guy is going to have a hit shield and also going to be slowing and all, doing all that stuff. And like, it's hard to kill because hit shield, heals, and stuff like that. That's why if you guys use the same team like I just showed you guys, Rebel, who hits multiple times, Creme Brulee, who's just going to straight up just do a bunch of damage and hits multiple times, and then having someone like Mint Choco to either buff up Creme Brulee, or having Star Coral to also heal, and or even having Financier to protect our Creme Brulee. This is gonna be more than enough to clear tray 40. All right, and then of course like the treasures can be the standard treasures. Just make sure that the Jelly Watch is going to be at a max level. You can use either like a scroll, whistle, or Jelly Watch. You can use the Enchanted Robe. If you guys are having a hard time with the debuffs, then you can just go with something like this, and then have the monocle. This monocle is the one you want to use because it's gonna get rid of the debuffs as well as heal and provide debuff resist and defense as well. So this is gonna be the one that you want to use. And so these are the kind of team that can pretty much clear like these cake towers as well as most of the world exploration stages as well. All right, so that's kind of like an example of a very, very, very standard beginning team. Now again, we have a tank, damage dealer, and a support, and we have all of those roles fulfilled. Now if you guys are getting someone like, now you have somehow gotten Burning Spice, then I will replace Fettuccine for someone like Burning Spice. Now you have a damage tank, which is going to be just super, super strong. He's a great tank and damage dealer. And then you have Rebel to enhance the, elemental damage of these two cookies. And you still have these two to support. And now, for example, I got, Mystic Flower. Then now I'll replace someone like Star Coral and then put in Mystic Flower in there to do more healing and still have Cream Ferret to, go and give the buffs that are required to my damage dealers. And now you, for example, have someone like Dark Cacao Awaken. Then you can replace Rebel for Dark Cacao Awaken. And if you got Shadow Milk is a great damage dealer. Now you can just replace Creme Brulee for someone like our Shadow Milk, or you can put in like Wind Archer in there. And this is kind of like the teams and how I would approach things, right? Depending on what you get at that certain time, if that cookie is good and is worth investing in, you can watch my PVE tier list. You can watch, different videos that, suggest good cookies to use. Because of the fact that PVE stuff are not going to change. Like, it only gets nerfed, if anything. So these cookies that I'm talking about right now, in the current state of the game in 2025, early 2025, these cookies are not going to be like going anywhere for the PVE section, right? So that's the reason why like having the standard team that you build and then switching the cookie of that particular role for another better cookie in that role is going to be the step that you want to take. All All right, so this is another example. Again, this is another example. And then you play the game and you play the stage. For example, you don't have enough damage. Then you'll replace someone like Rebel and add in just another damage dealer in here. All right, so you'll add in like Wind Archer. And now you have like 2 DPSs, 1 tank DPS, and then 2 healers / supports. For example, you don't have enough tanking, then you'll replace one of the DPSs for a tank, and then you'll have a 2 tank, 1 DPS, 2 support teams like this. So you have to kind of see what is needed for your team. Not everyone's going to be able to use the exact same team all the time, just because now you have the cookies as well as toppings and biscuits. So that's going to be another very, very important thing for these cookies, because that is going to determine whether your cookies are going to survive or not. So the toppings that I have on these cookies are not going to be the best examples, just because of the fact that, one, I have much better stat than most players, because of the fact that my labs are maxed out. I have a pretty high guild with good guild relics, as well as I have bonds and all the little things as well. If you guys are lacking in certain things, then I will talk about how to, supplement those things. So let's get into it. So first of all, for damage tanks, there are 3 options that you can go with. You can go with a damage dealer tank, where you go with a Searing Raspberry, so you increase the attack and then you increase damage resist with the substat, or you go with a cooldown like this one. You have damage resist and cooldown. Or a third option is, for most standard tanks, are going to be using Solid Almond. Of course, because of the fact that these 2 cookies are very, very strong and very, very, versatile in their toppings, I like to use something like Raspberry or Swift Chocolate to spam or do much damage. And then for Burning Spice, because he is a very, very strong tank / damage healer, Raspberry is going to be the best option. But generally speaking, Solid Almond with extra damage resist as a substat is going to be this right over here, where if you guys go into the topping and you guys see, click on this, these are going to be substats right over here. And the reason why I have so much damage resist plus cooldowns on certain cookies is because I have damage resist and cooldown on it. The only thing that I can tell you guys about subset is that you have to just grind. There's really no way to guarantee you getting the best substat. You just have to get lucky, and that's just how it is. For a damage dealer, it's very similar too, but there's only really 2 main topping set, except a third one where you can use crit toppings, but it's going to be damage or cooldown depending on what you want for that particular cookie and what is better for that cookie. You can either spam their skill and do damage, or just do burst damage in the first skill that they use, and then have a little bit less cooldown as well. And then for most of the healers / support, Swift Chocolate is going to be your standard build here, guys. This is for arena, and then you want to just go with a bunch of cooldown and damage resist, because they do still want to survive. Damage resist is going to be very, very important. All right, so that's going to be like the very general idea. In order to get to the best topping set for a specific cookie, that is going to have to be another whole video. So again, the general idea is, for tanks, you want damage resist because they want to survive as long as possible. So going with the Solid Almond is good. But if you guys have good tank damage healers, then going Searing Raspberry is not going to be a bad idea. Or sometimes Swift Chocolate for someone like Dark Cacao is an option too, and Rebel as well. All right, and then for Shadow Milk or a damage dealer, it's going to be most of the time Raspberry. And then sometimes Swift Chocolate, depending on whether it's a cookie that you can spam the skill really, really well. And then for your healers / supports are going to be the Swift Chocolate. And to quickly talk about biscuits as well inside of this video, guys, biscuit is going to be the thing that they have added where you're able to get them from the beasties, clearing either story mode for common, and then normal mode for the rares or the epics, and then the hard mode for the legendaries. And these are going to be another very, very important thing, because of the fact that these are going to give you guys extra attack and HP stats, and then also additional substats as well. Very, very similar to toppings, but sometimes you guys have something like the elemental boost for specific elements, and then now you have the damage resist bypass as well. But this is going to be a whole different section. But like, generally speaking, damage dealers, damage resist bypass is going to be very, very good. For healers and supports, cooldown and things like that are going to be very, very good. And then for tanks, it's going to be mostly like damage resist and other defensive stats. For damage dealers, something like attack, crit, those are going to work as well. So those are things that I would keep in mind for general usage. And then for specific ones, I will watch different videos to get the exact specifics for certain cookies for certain stages. Now, going into the last part of a team is going to be the treasure portion. Alright, so the treasures are going to be very standard in most PvE sections, and that is going to include the scroll, whistle, and jelly watch. Scroll increases overall attack. Whistle gives crit percentage as well as attack and damage resist to 2 of the cookies with the highest attack. And it also heals your team if those 2 cookies die. And then the last one, the jelly watch, is going to decrease the cooldown of your cookies. Alright, if you guys do not have a level 12 maxed out epic jelly watch, then please use the common one. Common one is perfectly fine in like almost all of the scenarios. This just gives extra 5% attack, which is, you know, pretty good, but not necessarily a deal breaker if you don't have it maxed out, so don't worry about it. In certain situations, you know, things like the monocle is going to help out if you guys need to get rid of debuffs and cleanse those debuffs. Sometimes, you know, robes is not a bad option either in order to hit faster. And then sometimes something like the feather is also a great option in PvE section because you do get a revive on one of the cookies as well. Alright, so that is pretty much like what the treasures are going to be. And then one last thing I do want to you know, kind of emphasize in this PvE section is that inside of world exploration as well as beasties, they have added the new higher cookies. Alright, higher cookies is a very good option for a lot of the players who are struggling in certain situations, like, you know, higher level difficulties of beasties and things like that. You can use these overpowered cookies technically because their, you know, biscuits are super good. Their topping subsets are really good too, and then they are, as you can see, max promoted. So you can use certain cookies like these to help you guys clear stages that you guys are stuck. So you can replace some of the cookies that you definitely could work on and then replace it with something that is pretty much maxed out and has the best stance, and then use those cookies to help you guys push further as well. So don't forget to utilize this section because this is going to be really good. I would stay away from the recommended and kingdom side. They are not that great, and only just really focus on the social and weekly popular because these are going to be where the best cookies are going to be. So that's pretty much what we have for this particular PvE section. There's a lot of different things to talk about as well as like skill elements and things like that, but inside of PvE that really doesn't matter too much. But I hope you guys found the video helpful. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. If you guys have any other tips for players, please leave it down in the comments below as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.